you may think that the Emmys are so terrible that you're going to watch them like a train wreck, but you are going to eat a lot of donuts to make yourself feel better. In which case you should go to getliverhelp.com/Allison and support your liver, because you might get fatty liver from eating too much processed foods. If you're somebody who's considering a liver detox, or say you eat a lot of sugar, a lot of processed foods, we used to think fatty liver was a result of alcoholism, but actually turns out we have a lot of malnourishment in the United States because we just eat a lot of crap. As you're transitioning, give your liver some support at getliverhelp.com/Allison. You also get a free bottle of their omega-3s. And another great company that's been with me for the last month or so. Really appreciate their support. A great way to support my show and also get something healthy. All of the ingredients were put together by naturopathic and allopathic physicians, and they're all natural. Turmeric, black pepper, beet, dandelion, milk thistle, artichoke extract, ginger, alfalfa. Getliverhelp.com/Allison. Support the show. YouTube wants that Emmy gold. YouTube's CEO has said that it's time for the Emmys to embrace creators. And if you want the whole show from these two creators, you got to sign up to be a supporter either on Locals, Rockfin, or Patreon, because this is Tittle Tattle, the most waited for media analysis show of your week. And you will get it in its entirety if you sign up to be on the editorial board on Locals. That's AllisonMorrow.locals.com. Or you can subscribe over on Rockfin or support on Patreon. And thanks to Bill Doris, ex-TV Newsy, here to opine about all of this. Bill, I upon first reading this was like, well, I guess why not? I mean, why not let YouTube creators in on the Emmys? I have 2 Emmys, news Emmys. I think since I actually started interviewing people that journalists are very scared of nowadays, I will never get another Emmy again. And I think this will all just be, I think it's going to be just like, it's going to end up just being a repeat, I guess, of what we see on the news, which is just, I don't know. It's not like, I don't think you're going to get people in categories that are doing like real investigative journalism that rocks the boat. I think it'll just be like happy-go-lucky type food channels and stuff like that. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, we're going to have, I don't want to say we're not going to have everything in lockstep in our opinions on this, I feel, but I do think we're going to have very much strong opinions, and I'm going to save those for our subscribers only. I will say this, while you're still watching this free content, there's a huge disconnect when it comes to content creation in the award space. What do I mean by that? Well, you can argue that for the longest times that content creation came from the networks, whether that was sitcoms like Married with Children, or whether it was news article magazine shows like 60 Minutes. You know, this stuff has been out there forever, but I think we need to look at the logistics. And when we're talking about the logistics, we're talking, Allison, how familiar are you with the process when it comes to Emmys, whether it's regional Emmys, news Emmys, stuff like that? But behind the scenes, who gets to be judges and who makes submissions?
I've done it before. So I have judged the news Emmys before.
As have I.
So I've seen it one time. I haven't done it many times, but I did it once.
I've done it a couple times.
Like your station basically says, hey, we need some people to judge. So can you guys come in and we'll buy you some pizza if you're willing to come in and do this, because it is a little bit laborious. You have to watch all of these videos. You have to mark up these papers, and I don't have time for that anymore. I don't have any time to be an Emmy judge.
The couple of times that I did it, I was stuck in an edit bay. I mean, don't get me wrong, for news photographers, videographers, and even reporters who are one-man bands, you know, you spend so much time in an edit bay. And for those of you that don't know, or for those of you who have never experienced it, an edit bay is basically you're in a prison cell, kind of like that's surrounded by styrofoam with a microphone and a computer with two screens. And you are literally just watching submission after submission after submission of people who want their um, word to be acknowledged. And it's laborious. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about literally, and Ali, I don't know about you, but I've never done national. The couple of times I've done Emmy judging, it was regional. It's never been national.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I can't even imagine on a national level.
Well, if you're going to be sitting down and judging the Emmys, you definitely are going to need a good glass of wine. So don't forget to go sign up at
I
AllisonWinePro.com.
wish.
We are starting a wine club now. So it's no longer you just go buy a bottle or two. This is going to be a club. You sign up for an annual membership. You get 6 new bottles every 3 months, and we all drink the same wine at the same time. So it's kind of like a cult, except you can get out if you want to, and the wine is much tastier. um so it's all of my like favorite extremist type wine. So like the small family farms, the ones you can't get at the grocery store, hand-picked grapes, natural fermentation, no filtration, no added dyes and chemicals, that kind of stuff. It's the extremist of the extremist wines. And you get to be signed up for the newsletter. You're going to get great content. We interviewed the guy who goes around the world hunting for all of these extremist altitude wines. He's really interesting. I'm probably going to release that interview everywhere so people can see it because it is really just so interesting. But it's a great way to support my channel. Bonner Wine has been with me since the very beginning, and they are so amazing to have stuck through everything. You know, Bill, I just dropped from, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago, definitely a year ago, I had 114,000 subscribers and I just dropped below 110. So I'm at like 109.8 something now. I've lost
Mm.
almost 4,000 subscribers in the last year on YouTube. And there's no ad revenue to be made on YouTube. The only way that you support the show really is by going over to Locals, being on the editorial board. You can send me some loose pocket change to my P.O. Box, and that's a great way to do it too. P.O. Box 3355, Denellen, Florida, 34432. But supporting the sponsors, and then you get something of great value, that keeps me in business too. So thanks everybody who's already at the wine club. So what I was going to say is that you know, the judging, like in the local way, it's not like you're sitting around with a bunch of experts necessarily who are like really hashing it out like a jury. At least in my
Right.
experience, it was just like, all right, come on, let's just get this done. Like that was just how a
Mhm.
lot of people were looking at it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like, oh, I just kind of like this. It's like when I was a horseback rider, I was a competitive horseback rider growing up, and you know, there was a lot of
Equality.
politics involved, and like it was just one judge's subjective experience because I didn't do hunter jumper where it's like you clear a jump, you get 10 points. It was a subjective type, you know, oh, we like her form, we like how the horse looks, but
Mhm.
what does like even mean? And you know, that's what the Emmys are, and they're a lot of just kind of culture virtue signaling anyway. It's like no one gives an award anymore to something that's going to really rock the boat. I mean, they
Mhm.
think they're doing that, but they're not really. They're just going with the flow of culture, even though they think they're being real activists and real edgy, but they're not. So it's just, you know, why not let YouTubers in on it? I have no problem with that. But what about us on Rumble or on Locals? I mean, that's what I really kind of want to know, because if you're going to let YouTubers in, you should let all content creators in. And over on Locals, I thought this was interesting. DMSR says once YouTube takes over the awards, they will probably ask. Oh, I think I froze.
Just for a
Once
second.
YouTube takes over the awards, they will ask Gemini to decide winners. It may all just turn into AI decision making too, with who gets the awards. But just a quick update. This is on Variety just a few hours ago. They're saying that that actually a couple of shows, YouTube series, have now officially been accepted. They petitioned and got into the nomination category. Says the Emmy race just got a bit more spicy. 3 popular YouTube web series have found their content creators taking a chance on themselves, which could significantly impact the Emmy race in some categories. Hot Ones, hosted by Sean Evans, has successfully petitioned to be included in the Outstanding Talk Series category. It will compete against late night hosts Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, and Stephen Colbert. I'm curious what you think it has a chance. Does he have a chance?
I mean, okay, so when it comes specifically when it comes to Hot Ones, I love their content because the channel is called First We Feast. That's the YouTube channel, but what made First We Feast popular is Hot Ones, and I love their content. They've had interviews with everyone from Gordon Ramsay to Stone Cold Steve Austin, from Scarlett Johansson to whoever. If anyone who's anyone in pop culture really has been on Hot Ones and had some amazing slash questionable experiences with these hot wings, but they're answering great questions. And the show's done so well. It's very simplistic in the fact that it's less means more. Even during the pandemic, when they couldn't have in studio interviews, they were one of the first platforms that were doing interviews via Skype or whatever platform it was. And they were still pushing these interviews. So props to, First We Feast and Hot Ones. And if they won some awards and some Emmys, I would have no problem with that, because let's be honest, in today's culture, they probably ask a few more hard-hitting questions or more culturally relevant questions than, a lot of news outlets. So I have no problem with them being awarded and acknowledged. And there's some other platforms or some other content creators, Critical Role. They put out amazing content, especially for nerds and gamers and geeks in that space, which, the TV show Big Bang Theory, which has won many Emmys, they have capitalized on that and put out great content themselves, and they should be awarded. And Critical Role had one of the biggest crowdfunding events of all time. They were just trying to raise $500,000, $600,000, whatever it was on their GoFundMe, and they ended up raising over $11 million. They broke all the records at the time. So the content on YouTube matters, and it does deserve to be acknowledged. But as far as Emmys specifically, I'm going to say that for the subscribers only.
Okay. And we're going to go to that soon. The one of the other ones that's going to be in British creator Amelia Dimoldenberg, fresh off her stint as the Oscars social media ambassador, is entering the short form race for the first time with her series Chicken Shop Date. And that just kind of brings me back to one of my points I made already. Like, I think these are, it's not like I'm going to get to enter for an, I mean, even if I didn't do controversial content, I feel like all these people are just highly connected. Like this person, okay, she was the Oscars social media ambassador. Like, I just don't think, maybe Mr. Beast, like big channels like that, which, there may be some great quality out there that's not a huge YouTube channel that would be great for a nomination. That's the difference, I guess, with like the news Emmys. It's just everybody gets to enter. It's not like you have to have a certain amount of viewers or anything, but it just seems like this is just going to kind of be a in club type deal. I don't have any problem with it, but let's be clear, it's YouTube. It seems like it's not like they're opening this up to like every digital creator that does similar stuff on different platforms. It's still just, I don't know. It's just still a digital cast system. And because I don't have a very high opinion of the Emmys, and I also don't have a high opinion of YouTube, I think they're perfect together. I think they do great together.
But I'm also going to say and again, I'm saving this for subscribers only. Arguably the biggest domestic news story in the United States over the last year, maybe 9 months, was a story that was broke by YouTube content creators who were news investigators. And they ran with it for a few months and nobody said anything. And then all of a sudden, this particular news story is getting millions of views upon millions of views daily. They are getting blown up. And then it forced the corporate news media on TV. It forced them to take notice. And now all of the investigative teams in this particular area. And I'm not going to mention the story yet, because if you want to know more, you've got to stick around for the subscribers only. If you're not a subscriber, why not? Because we're going to talk about that big news story here in just a few minutes, and how the YouTube investigators and content creators blew this story up. And then all of a sudden, oh, now the news journalists who are going to win Emmys for their coverage, they piggybacked on it, and they're not getting the YouTube creators are not getting the recognition for their work in breaking the story.
Okay, go join the editorial board on Locals and you'll get the rest.